On Viz Media, the Viz Media's channel on YouTube, they
Hmm.
actually have like not it's not animated, but they have some of his manga, his shorter works, as like little videos where they show you like one panel at a time or edit it to like kind of flow a bit better as a video.
Cool. Something to never watch.
I love it so much. I watched the one called The Long Dream. That was kind of
Okay.
interesting. It was about a man whose dreams felt longer and longer each time he had them. And
Oh, that would feel weird.
yes, at some point despite the fact that it's only really like a couple of minutes here, and in our time, in real time,
Hmm.
he feels like his dreams have gotten to years long.
Oh, that would be awful.
Yes, and he just talks about how it's dreadful.
You know what I do hate about dreams? IRL. I hate when it's basically lucid dreaming, but you're not actually lucid. It's just, I guess, whatever barrier between like the dream and your vague amounts of consciousness narrows enough that you influence it without intending to. And specifically what I mean is like I had a dream at some point this week where like I had to go somewhere with somebody and they got out of the car and they were like, just wait here in the car, I'll be back soon. And
And
they
then you
closed the
waited.
door and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit here in this car and wait for a while. And I was like, I hope they come back. They didn't come back for a really long time. And as I was sitting there, I was like, I really hope nobody breaks into this car. And as I think that, all of a sudden there's like 9 guys like breaking into random cars all around me. They're like using crowbars, like smashing windshields. I'm like, holy fuck, this is like the worst neighborhood ever. And I was like, when I woke up, I was like, I just fucking hate dreams. Where you're like, I really hope X doesn't happen, and then suddenly it's happening a lot.
I hate the dreams that like you wake up from, and then for some reason your just mind believes that that's what actually happened. I'm recalling the
Kind
time where I thought I was married, and I woke up and I thought to myself, "Where's my wife?"
of.
It took me a good like 30 minutes in the shower to like get rid of those feelings. It was weird. It was freaky.
To work through like the mental dysphagia of like,
I'm not actually married. I don't have a kid. I'm still me.
right, that is bizarre.
Yeah,
I always have that. It happens sometimes like if I'm in the middle of reading something and like I get really sucked into it and I pull myself out to like do something else like halfway through a paragraph or something. There's always like mental disconnect of like I was just really thinking hard about like what was happening in a book and suddenly I'm me again and like there's just mental disconnect of like who am I?
Ugh,
Um,
bizarre shit.
Dreams are weird, dude.
They're fucking freaky. But you know it's not freaky.
What's not freaky?
Anime book club, but it actually is because it's just two guys talking to each other.
The creepiest thing in existence.
Yeah, and no one's
If reality
listening.
has taught me anything.
Whatever. It's Anime Book Club episode 82. I'm Brandon,
I'm Nick.
and we're gonna talk about anime. Let's start off with Doctor Stone.
We're gonna talk about anime and no books ever.
We
I
talk
think
about
at some
manga.
point we should have like an interim. I think we've talked about this before. We should do
Before
an
we actually read a
interim,
book.
not just a book. We should go back and do Flowers of Evil finally.
Oh yeah, probably at some point.
We should do actual book club, the origin of anime book club.
Flowers of Evil, Aku no Hana.
Akunohana, the origin of the name book club,
Yep.
but not actually. I guess Oprah is technically the origin of book club.
I mean, the pretty sure book clubs existed before that, but uh, actually, I don't know enough about that to
I
say
don't
you're
know.
wrong. Actually,
Oprah
know.
very well may have been the first one to like formally put it together and be like, yeah, this is a thing.
this is true. Well,
Everybody reads the same book and then meets up to talk about it.
anyways, let's talk about something that's not about books. Let's talk about some phone shit and how to make them.
Yeah.
In Doctor Stone, where nothing ever works. Because we have.
Things work all the time.
Sorry, I meant like where nothing is past the year 2000. Technologically.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Anyways, we're gonna make some smartphones, and the first step to do that is making the golden wire, and that's the basically
Well, we're gonna make phones. We're not going to make smartphones.
oh yes, we're gonna make some rudimentary phone.
Just
But-
regular phone, yeah.
The first step is golden wire, as you need with any fucking sort of electronic.
Mhm.
And before we make golden wire, we're gonna make some cotton candy. Let's fucking
Yes.
go.
They need to get practice in spinning out basically thin wire like strings,
Hmm.
and so they're like, let's practice cotton candy because we can make it and it's not problematic and super rare like
Yeah,
gold is.
it's just some sugar. We can boil wine, get it, get it.
Yeah. And thankfully, due to our lovely village fire, they have burned wine in excess. So Senku makes up a little cotton candy spinning iron thing, fucking slaps that shit in there, and has the two brother idiots pull each other back and forth to the ground
Over and over again.
in the best scene of fucking Ginro just face planting every time.
Oh, Ginro and Ginro. And so they make some cotton candy. They hand it out to the peasants,
Hmm.
and they really like it because it's the first time they're fucking tasting sugar. Well, concentrated sugar,
Yeah.
and that shit will get to anyone, except for me. I'm not a big fan of sweets. I've had issues. Anyways, on top of giving the peasants cotton candy, Senku also decides to give Homura, right? That's her name, Homura, not Nomura.
Homura, yes.
Homura, okay. Some cotton candy as well. Puts it like in a little shelter so it doesn't get wet and shit. And tells them, you don't have to eat it. You can give it to some animals to make sure it's not poisoned. But there's some cotton candy for you.
Hmm.
And her being the tsundere she is, she's like, I don't want this fucking cotton candy. Yeah. She eats it a couple of scenes later. Whatever.
Yeah. In a very like dirty dancing
Yeah.
but in the trees scene where she like throws her head back. She's like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever.
Cotton candy, just like that one time where I went to that one festival.
Yeah.
But it doesn't taste as
The
good
very
because...
on the nose with the very on the nose festival like dum
Yeah,
drums.
little drums. And we also have, fucking the two. Is Suika their sister? Is Suika the sister of Kohaku and the other girl?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
think so.
All right. I'm
But
just
she
gonna
might
say
be.
they're sisters, just so I don't have to say all of their names. All right.
Go for
So the sisters also eat some cotton candy. They freak out. Whatever.
Yeah.
The real plan is now in motion. They need to make some golden wire, but they notice that there's clumps in the cotton candy. So if they try to do it with the gold wire, they're gonna just fuck it up.
Yeah.
So their first little issue is that they have to figure out a way to basically just make it spin in one direction constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And so they make some gears. They use a little turnstile. Turn it. Blah blah. I'm not sure why I didn't think of that first.
Because they've been doing everything else on physical power, so they were like, yeah, let's
So-
just fucking slap a rope around this thing and call it a day.
Yeah, I guess so. But this gives Chrome an idea that was already thought of before he was born.
Yeah.
He decides to make a water wheel off an old stream while everyone else is working on the gold wire and cotton candy and shit. Basically, this is a callback to what Senku had talked about earlier, is that even if he wasn't, brought back to life or dies, there's always going to be some idiot that just wants to try random shit. And it's going to work out. In this particular case, they now have basically a generator,
Yes.
which will make things a lot easier.
And Senku is now able to cast Chidori successfully.
Yep. 1,000
As, all,
birds.
as he was like sitting, as he was like kneeled down, like lightning, like kind of in one hand. I'm like, all I can see is him as Sasuke with Chidori.
Only people with the Sharingan can use Chidori, or else they just fucking plow into a wall. That was
Basically.
that was the in-universe
Explanation of Chidori.
yeah, because you just go straight, and if you go in a straight line, you're probably gonna miss someone. That's why you have to use Sharingan to guess where they are.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I never really paid attention. So speaking of other animes, in the process of making cotton candy, we also get some sort of reference to something. I don't know if it's like a Food Wars reference or what, but we also learned that apparently Senku's dad, in
Oh.
creating the 100 stories, teaches them how to meme,
Yeah.
because that's an important
Oh
thing
my
to teach
god, I
people.
forgot. Yeah.
Apparently Senku's dad is a meme lord. It's now confirmed.
That scene was really fucking hilarious. Where just Genro's wearing his costume and just Genro's such a goon. I love him.
What else do we have? Oh, we have Gen thinking like Tsukasa, and Tsukasa thinking like Tsukasa.
Yes, because Tsukasa immediately figures out what once again what Senku's gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, not about the phone thing, but about how he's gonna attack preemptively. Because Tsukasa has magical kami powers or whatever. I don't fucking know.
Magical kami powers.
Both the god and the and the communist term. He just
Uh,
knows. He just knows things.
he does just know things.
In a different anime, he would have been Sherlock Holmes.
Probably. But in this anime, Sherlock Holmes, he is not, because despite having two prisoners of war, he decides we're not going to do anything about Taiju and Yuzuriha right now.
I
We're
just
just going
keep
to
an
let
eye
them
on them.
continue living whatever life they are living right now and do nothing about it. Because obviously the phone thing has to be important, so they both talk about like, how important communication is in the modern, or like in the act of waging war. Communication will win the war.
Yes, very clearly they're going to be the ones that get the phone at some point.
Yeah.
Tsukasa can be surprised. Oh my god, how could we let this happen? We just left them there.
How could I not have seen this coming? What could I have done to prevent this?
What
But
would be his alternatives though? What would he have to do? I guess just put them in prison.
yeah, put
Yeah.
them in prison or like keep them more under watch.
I know
Or you can
they
basically
are
just
under
do, like,
watch.
I mean, yeah, but like you just move them like basically into your own house. And be like, you live here now, where I can look at you 100% of the time.
That makes sense. I believe that.
Or like just put a guard on them and be like, follow them everywhere.
Oh, that not much else happens in the episode because it's very like it was very plot heavy. I guess it was very conflict heavy, where we get an issue, we find a way to solve it, and we have like three of those in quick succession. We don't have really a lot of character moments where they're talking to each other, or a lot of Tsukasa trying to be a first year university student.
Uh-huh. I think we're setting up for like the next big thing they have to do before phones. Like there's some stuff on the list of things they have to
Yeah.
complete for a phone. It's like we're leading into we need to complete one of those big things, and this was an episode of sort of setting up like all of the periphery stuff.
Right.
We have a water wheel, we have electricity, we've got the rotary thing for gold wire. We saw the kids wrapping up the gold wire to get a whole bunch of it. Like
hmm
this is establishing how actually creating the computer is going to come to be, and then the 1 to 2 major roadblocks we're going to focus on over the next episode or two. I'm
Right.
assuming.
Similar to how we had sulfuric acid and then one other thing for the sulfa drugs.
Yeah, and like in between that,
Iron.
we had they ran around in the river with like a magnet to collect iron sand, and like it wasn't a super interesting
Mhm.
thing. But then on the other side of that, we got like, oh, we needed to kidnap this dude so that he could blow glass for us and do all this other shit. Like there was a whole bunch of components to building up to it, and there was also like the major things we need to accomplish. We need to get hydrosulfuric acid, so we need to create
Gas masks.
gas masks. So I'm assuming in the next episode or two, we're gonna have some, major things to go get, and then by that time it'll be winter and time for the preemptive strike.
Yep. And then I think we've got 5 episodes left in the season for the show.
Probably about, yeah.
Let's double check that. That's not the right season. So much garbage everywhere.
We may not actually get
Oh shit.
through the war.
Nah, actually, we're probably gonna. Yes, we probably won't get to the war. We'll probably get to. Depending on how
Winter.
long the phone takes. We've got 21, 20. We've got 4 episodes left.
We have 4 episodes left.
4. 21, 22, 23, and 24. I feel like
I don't
that's
think
enough.
I don't think we're gonna get through the war. We may get to the war, but we're not gonna get through the war.
We're gonna get through this to the preemptive strike, I believe. The preemptive strike arc is
Probably.
probably gonna be finished. I think it's gonna end with the reunification of Senku, Yuzuriha, and Taiju going to the village.
Yeah, assuming there is like a major like reunification of like we went and collected them and they're our friends again, like that would probably be a good place to stop it. I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Otherwise, I could see it as like the village going to war as like the other major stopping point of like
Mhm.
post preemptive strike. All the villagers armed and ready for combat, going off to war.
Yeah, but basically, this will end after the preemptive strike, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree. Even if Taiju and Yuzuriha don't come back, it'll be
Mhm.
after the strike. So we'll have the phone finished.
yeah, I think so.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what happens. There's too many weird words there.
But apparently all of the chicks are digging on Senku.
And Senku's not digging it back.
No, he is not. Senku does not care about the ladies.
No, he's not. Shame for him. But he is a chief, so he can do whatever he wants. Also,
Sure.
he is a divorcee.
It is true. He's a divorcee. And in terms of our protagonists of this season, he's probably like
The what?
I think,
Okay,
the least.
go ahead.
Oh, am I freaking out?
Yes, you roboted a little bit.
Great. I'm so the least ladies' man of them all.
Let's see. Well, yeah, I guess so, because main character from Babylon's married. I don't think the main character from the Kaja's hero is the ladies' man. Because he's similar to Senku, where the girls dig on him, but, it's not reciprocated.
That's true.
Let's see, for Orisuke, it is reciprocated. For Iruma, he's just a little fluff ball, so there's no real reciprocation. There's reciprocation, but for everyone. Am I missing something?
I think those are all the shows.
Yeah, those are the shows.
Yeah.
So I'd say there's 3 that are ladies' men, and the other 2 are just little dickweeds in the background.
All right.
Yeah, but anyways, that was Dr. Stone. It's been very, kind of straight-laced right now.
Yeah.
It's building up.
Yes. It's a very linear path right now of these are the things that have to happen, and coming up soon is the more open-ended, like, we're going to somehow overcome this. Let's find out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, I liked what we had today. Watching Ginro face plant was pretty cool. Creating electricity was cool. Anytime the fucking I could build it dwarf gets all ripped and goes Super Saiyan is a good time.
Yeah, and then flashes everyone, yeah.
Yeah. So I can appreciate it.
Something that's not so linear right now is Babylon. It is interesting.
It's a show where every time things happen and then it ends, and I wish it had like 20 more minutes of content.
So much of this episode was the debate. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, I kind of lose sense of time because, like,
Right?
every time the episode ends, I'm like, there's no way this is the end. It has not been 20 minutes. It's been like 5.
Because it's all talking, and you would think it makes the show feel long, but then it ends and you're like,
does not.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
What did I just watch?
It ends, and you're like, I need way more time
So-
before the show could be over.
Process everything. Because I remember like some stuff at the beginning, and then there's just 4 characters pile on one character about some ideal stuff, and then it
Yeah.
ends.
And then it just ends.
Yeah.
A
But
small child comes out, and yeah, it's over shortly after that. And it was very. I wanted there to be more. I wanted to have more of a conversation about things, and it was like, no, this is it. This is all you get for this week.
so, anyways, let's get the easy stuff out of the way. I was wrong. They did not have I be like one of the debaters of this in this
It's true.
public
I did
debate.
not show up in this episode.
Did not show up at all. Itsuki actually shows up. He's actually there to debate his position.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got the major twist of this episode is that the kid with the little face mask for the Sentai mask that was crying on the YouTube video, talking about how his dad wanted to commit suicide, that is actually Itsuki's son.
Yes.
And he is now in the running for public office because there's no age limit.
Yeah.
So anyone can run, even a 10-year-old kid.
That was something they brought up a while ago.
So that, yeah,
was like-
there is a it was set up.
Yeah.
It was very clear. I didn't have an issue with that. I more or less had an issue with the fact that like they didn't even run like a cursory background check on the kid, so they didn't know
Yeah,
who
that
his
was
dad
not a
was.
great decision.
Like I can understand like not being able to get the father on the phone, or like he's busy, or like he's somewhere. Who knows?
Right.
But not
He's in
knowing
hiding.
the father's name,
Mhm.
that's a little bad.
To be fair, they may have been set up.
This is possible. Yep.
This may have been a play. this whole episode, I was like, somebody's playing somebody. I was like trying to like preempt the show and be like, this person's playing this person. This is the game. I know how it's gonna end. And then like it would be like, yeah, you're wrong, dickhead. I'm like, God damn it. And like I just kept making random guesses to see if I could be right. I was never right.
Yeah, to your point though, I think the kid may have been a plant. You're right. The reason like that background check, I think they're gonna bring it up and say like that they did run a background check. They, found the father and it was just some fake person. I think that might be the reason why they didn't know that kid was Itsuki's son. But very interesting. I do want to see like what the play was with having the son run.
Yeah.
Because Itsuki doesn't look. Go ahead. Sorry.
My original like expectation for the play was I was expecting this whole thing to be a setup by the old guy.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was going to be like, yeah, Itsuki was a plant the whole time. Like, I wanted him to be crazy. We told him to do this whole suicide thing. Like, this is all so that I could become, like, the Ubermensch overlord. And, like, that was what the play I was expecting. And then, it turns out that probably isn't what's happening. So I was like, okay, there's something else going on. So now when the kid comes out, I'm like, it's something to do with the kid. The kid's in on it. He knows.
I mean, technically he was in on it.
Kind of.
We still don't know what the kid's gonna do. Not what he's gonna do, but like, I'm pretty sure the kid's a pawn. Like he's 100% pawn. Like the kid's a kid. He's not gonna know what the hell fuck's going on.
Well, I thought the kid was a plant for old guy at first, where I was like, there is no dad. He's lying. His dad's not gonna commit suicide. He's lied for sympathy votes.
Okay, so you're saying is like his video before was a plant. Like this was because
yeah, that's what I thought before his video was a plant.
Okay.
Yeah, the video from several weeks ago was a plant, and I thought the kid was like, he was just basically drumming up like sympathy votes for their side, and his dad wasn't actually going to commit suicide. I thought like the dad was a blank, like there was no actual dad. Mm-hmm. He was just an actor basically. He was a crisis actor. And then his dad's the mayor, and I'm like, I'm wrong again. Fuck.
The moment the mayor started walking to the kid, I'm like, oh, I think that's his. But I didn't want to believe it because like. I legit thought they would have known, but they didn't. It was very weird. But I wonder if this is gonna help Itsuki, and if so, how? Because like, if the kid does become the next mayor, how's that gonna work?
It's not. He's going to create a winter sports arena called Ice Town and drive his fucking town into debt.
And then he's gonna kill little Sebastian.
Yeah. Shout out to Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. But in terms of like an actual theory, I have no idea.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't even know if he's gonna win.
Yeah, it's true.
And, like, based on the order of the episodes, like I think next episode is supposed to be an I episode. Like I think it's every other is an I episode or so. It's like next episode maybe an I episode where we deal with I and don't deal with the mayor at all for a little while.
I don't think so, because remember, the gang is gonna kidnap Itsuki. Something else I completely forgot about.
We completely glossed over that. They're also in the background of the whole the mayor thing is there's a plotted kidnapping that's about to occur. Where our prosecutor has basically decided, after consulting with his team and talking with his wife a little bit, he's basically decided like in order to save everybody, he has to do something illegal, and the illegal thing he settled on is we're going to kidnap the mayor.
Yeah.
So presumably they're going to kidnap the mayor and I don't know, kill him?
No,
torture him?
They're going to interrogate him.
I mean, it's only an interrogation if you're doing it legally. Otherwise, it's torture, I think.
They're not going to hurt him. They're just going to ask him some questions, and if they're not the right answers, you just don't want to know what's going to happen because of the implication.
Yeah. There are going to be threats that are made, and maybe they will and maybe they won't be carried out, but, we won't say.
Also, if they do get, like, confessions, I'm pretty sure these would not be admissible in court, in any court.
No. I mean, okay, so, like, a lot of this was weird, garbagey stuff. When we first started out talking to the old guy, and he was like, oh yeah, like, I'm going to debate him on his policies because we were the ones who created his platform for him, so I know everything about him. And I was like, perfect. It's going to be a policy thing. He's going to ruin this guy. Like, he's Like, you already have all of the sympathy votes. Like, they even show on the poll thing where it was like 88% of people don't support the suicide bill. And I'm like, okay, you literally don't have to say anything and win by default. Like,
Yeah.
this dude has a 9% approval rating. You don't have to make it lower to win this
The
election.
law has a 9% approval rating. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, okay, but, this election is becoming almost solely focused on the law.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is running on a platform of the law and nothing else. It's like, all you have to do is be on the side of not the law, and you would win by default, basically. So, the fact that all of them came out with, like, these, let's talk about the, morals of the suicide thing, I'm like, this is such a bad play. Like, all I wanted somebody to do is be like, let's talk about all of your other policies and the fact that I know you and I know that you're an idiot. But yeah, instead we get suicide is bad for a socioeconomic reason, and then
Actually,
BTE refutes it with a whole bunch of bullshit.
A vote on the law, not a vote for the next mayor.
Oh, is it a vote on the law? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a vote for the parliament.
Maybe I'm still not very clear about. I don't know how their government works, to be honest.
We'll find out who gets elected and what happens after the election.
Yeah, because like they already had the vote for the mayor. But like, what are they voting on now? I feel like that's voting for the law, right? Like,
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
But like all the candidates introduce themselves as like so and so for parliament.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess there's like a difference between being a mayor and then being part of parliament. Then who knows?
I guess. But yeah, so
we're gonna figure out what happened, what the deal is next episode. Yeah.
Our arguments against the suicide law, as presented by our 4 panels, or 3 idiots and one guy who had this mildly okay argument, were suicide is wrong from a socioeconomic standpoint.
It's a stupid argument.
Suicide is wrong, or I'm sorry, laws for suicide are wrong for moral reasons, and
the emotional argument. Oh no, that was
he may have aided and abetted.
Yeah,
and like basically encouraged people to commit suicide. Were our 3 other idiot arguments. And then Itsuki refutes them, and I don't actually think he did a really good job of it, to be honest. Because this whole thing against the socioeconomic one was like, let's talk about the legalization of marijuana. And then he provided all of these statistics, which were in no way comparable. He was like, they legalized marijuana use in the Netherlands, and now they use it less than in England. And I'm like, okay, but you can't compare those 2 things. Like, you have to compare Netherlands before and Netherlands after. You can't compare Netherlands to England. That's not how this works.
I thought he said it was lowered in Netherlands after the law passed.
He said that...
Was it lower between 2 countries?
Yeah, he was talking about between the 2 countries. He said the law was passed in the Netherlands, and then he talked about the fact that it's lower in the Netherlands than it was in England, where it's still illegal. And I'm like, you can't compare 2 things across a boundary like that. Like, it may have always been higher in the England, regardless of the legality of it in the Netherlands. Like, it doesn't matter. Those 2 things don't interact in any way. You can't make that comparison.
Yes, I think he also
people in the Netherlands may just not smoke marijuana. He talks about something else.
Oh no! In Canada, it's about to be legalized.
Yeah, in Canada, it's about to be legalized. Says nothing else about that. He doesn't at all bring up the fact that technically the legalization of marijuana generally brings more of a stigma against illegally purchasing it, and is also generally higher priced, which is why generally usage goes down, because it's harder to find and more expensive when you do buy it legally. But that aside, he also brings up the fact that just because suicide is legal doesn't mean necessarily more people will commit suicide.
Yes. Despite
the fact that they already cited the fact that suicide has increased, which sort of defeats his own argument. But yeah, so that was the socioeconomic standpoint. The moral argument was basically like, laws exist for moral reasons, and suicide is immoral. And Itsuki's defense was, but is it really? Let's have a conversation about, is it really immoral?
He doesn't talk about whether suicide is moral. He just says about how there's different moralities everywhere.
Okay, is that what his argument was?
Yeah.
I couldn't really figure out his moral one. I didn't agree with the guy who was arguing for the moral thing, so I wasn't really paying attention, but yeah.
It was more of like, everyone has different morals. And that was it. That was basically the gist of the argument. I might be missing out some nuance, but that was about it. The last one was, you're a criminal, and he was like, no, I'm not. Next question.
Yeah. Next question. Fake news.
And then the last one was, fucking guy with the mullet. Like, that's a fucking mullet, right? It's a mullet.
That's absolutely a mullet. Yeah.
The guy with the
It's an
mullet.
old dude with liver spots and a mullet.
Yep. Says emotions. Argument done.
Yeah, basically. His argument was if you want to commit suicide, you're in an emotional state where you're not thinking rationally, and
Yes.
just because something is legal doesn't mean it's actually the right thing for you to do at the time.
And and suicide is a decision that has like no way to go back from, basically.
Yeah.
So if like you made the wrong decision, like you're screwed because you're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really know what their like end point to it was. It was basically like we as a country should have a discussion about this, which seems like a bad idea, but whatever. And then yeah, the little boy comes out and he reveals that he's going to run for parliament because he feels strongly that suicide shouldn't be allowed because it's going to affect him badly.
Mm-hmm.
And then Itsuki says, "Yeah, I'm the dad."
Yo,
which,
that right there, I made it.
You see that back there? I hit that. But yeah, I guess that implies that Itsuki wants to kill himself.
Yes. Unless he lied to the kid.
Unless he lied to the kid, or the kid is lying.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. We don't know like who's playing what angle right now.
And what even I is trying to accomplish.
I just wants to kill people. She's just a serial killer.
I is a sociopath.
I would have liked to see Itsuki make the argument of like, why are there this many suicides to begin with? Like, shouldn't we like focus on that main issue? But that doesn't really come up.
I mean, there was a lot of like other interesting things they could have brought up. The most interesting thing was like the moral thing, where he was like, the morals of society change all the time. Like, homosexuality was super fucked up a while ago, and now we realize like it was
seen as super fucked up.
It was seen as super fucked up, and society changed, and they were like, no, we were the ones who were fucked up. Homosexuality is normal.
He brings something else. I forgot which one. What other point he brings up for that example?
Yeah.
Homosexuality and something else. Drug use? Not drug use.
Not drug use. There is something else that I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't recall.
But
that was basically the gist of the debate.
Yeah,
and we'll see.
Assuming there is either going to be a kidnapping or an election next episode,
or both. Who knows?
Or both. Who knows?
Because the debate happens the day before the election, I believe.
I think the debate, it happens shortly before the election.
And then your point about Ai?
Hopefully we're going to see more Ai, because I really want to know what she's up to.
Yeah, what the fuck is like her piece of this? What's her piece in this puzzle?
Other than just wanting to kill people, is she getting anything else out of this? Because like Itsuki is possibly trying to commit suicide. Parliament guy may be trying to get elected to parliament and collect power. We'll probably find out if the kid has an angle. Like everyone else,
The 10-year-old?
Yeah, the 10-year-old.
It is an anime. I wouldn't put it past it.
We could, reasonably understand. Like, okay, I understand like what they're trying to get out of this situation. And then there's Ai, who possibly just wants to kill people.
Yeah, she is just. Yeah, she has been described as just plain evil.
Yeah. Linda McCartney out here banging dudes and making them commit suicide.
Well, we don't know if she banged the guys that committed suicide.
She admitted to banging those dudes at the fucking the hotel.
But they didn't die.
It's true. I didn't say she was both banging dudes and then making them kill themselves. She could be doing both separately.
Yeah, and she is doing both separately. That it is confirmed that she's doing both separately. If that's her MO, we don't know yet.
We also don't know that those dudes didn't commit suicide.
Yes. And so, that brings our discussion of Babylon to an end. Next up will be Cautious Hero.
How many more episodes of Babylon do we have? 7? 6?
6, I think.
Okay. So, the first arc was 3 episodes, and there are 2 more arcs.
6,
this one and 1 more. So I'm assuming the end of this arc is going to be...
How do you know there's 3 arcs?
Because there are 3 books.
Ah, okay.
So I'm assuming the end of this arc is going to be episode 7 or 8.
Yeah, about.
So we very well could see a kidnapping, and that will be the end of an arc.
We will definitely see a kidnapping. I cannot wait.
A kidnapping as committed by a whole bunch of prosecutors and a police officer.
Yurt. Well, anyways, so Cars Zero. I actually watched it this week because I'm a fucking idiot from last week. But yeah, first episode 5, we have the training of Mash for a little bit, and also the purification of that one war goddess, and then subsequent drop immediately of her.
Yes.
And then this episode we have everyone goes to the dinosaur world, well, to the raptor half dragon world.
Yes.
And then we almost kill Elalu.
The raptor world.
I don't think I look like raptors.
I choose to live in a world in which they are raptors.
Only one of them can turn into dragons, so we don't know that they're not raptors.
It's true. And Mash can now turn into a half raptor.
Yes. And Elalu is there.
Possibly a sword in human form.
Yes.
Although large quantities of their logic make no sense, but, you know, the show kind of agrees that a lot of what they said is sort of dumb.
Yeah. I definitely liked episode 5 more than I liked episode 6. Mostly because episode 5 was just a bunch of just tomfoolery for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Like I said, the show shines when it's not fighting.
Yeah, basically. Like, when there's no plot progression, I'm just laughing my ass off and enjoying every moment of it. When they're trying to get the plot going, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I largely don't care about the whole saving the world thing. That's the problem, is like, all of the character interactions are all of the best parts of Konosuba. The thing is, Konosuba doesn't have any of the worst parts of this show, because it doesn't try and save the world.
Yeah, they're just trying not to be poor.
Yeah, it's all character interactions, because there is no saving the world. It's just the lives of these people in a different, or this one kid in a different world, who just in this town. Like, there's no trying to save the world or any of that bullshit. It's just survive and interact with other characters in this town. Whereas this show is like, we're going to have them interact sometimes, and then sometimes we're actually going to try and like have a plot and have him save the world, and I largely don't care.
Yeah, basically. At least well, I didn't like this episode. There were still like, you know, funny moments where everyone's just kind of goofing off. Mostly, Rosette being a goof. I love her so much. She's the best part of the show, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's absolutely the main character.
Yeah. Just her pawning over the main character while she's like paralyzed. It's just so fucking great.
I love her bounce in between like, I'm gonna bone the main character tonight, and I want to fucking kill him.
It's just a testament to the once again the testament to the voice actress for that role. Fucking fantastic.
Yes. But starting with episode 5, we have the training of Mash, where they return to the God Realm to basically give Mash to the old sword god from episode 3, I think.
Called, I want to say Cetus? Cetus, I think.
You might be right. But so we drop Mash off at basically babysitting.
Daycare.
Yeah. And we drop Elalu off with the Flame Goddess, and Seiya goes off to learn War God super swordsmanship techniques.
Oh my god.
And so this then begins the training of our characters, where we kind of see that Mash, because he's not as OP as Seiya, has sort of revitalized the sword god, and he's willing to take up his sword again and not be a professional baker for the rest of his life.
Yep, making those souffles and cakes.
Yep.
Cakes.
And then every once in a while, we kind of drop in and see how Seiya's doing, and we don't really see Seiya getting any better, but we see the war goddess slowly becoming less of a shut-in freak and more of a girl as time goes on.
Wearing prettier clothes, putting on makeup.
Yeah. Being excited to go train with Seiya or be near Seiya.
I hope she comes back.
Well, we'll see. They did set up another return to the God Realm, because while we were here dropping the children off at daycare, we also then run into yet another goddess to fight with later in Valkyrie.
The exhibitionist.
Yeah, the S&M goddess. Where she shows up, molests Restart for a little while, and Seiya basically picks a fight with her. So we could the next time we go back to the God Realm, possibly next episode, we could be down for a Restart or a Seiya Valkyrie fight.
Mm-hmm.
Also possibly a reunion with our war goddess, because as they left the God Realm, the war goddess in her full frilly outfit comes to basically give her love cake to Seiya, and Seiya's like, "You gross, no cake."
With the little groomsman and bride at the top.
Yeah. I love Seiya because every time something happens, I always want the characters to just be like, "You gross, no, cooties." And Seiya's the only character who says what I'm thinking, where he's just like, "You gross, no, please, no. I hate you. I hate everything about you. Don't touch me."
Technically, he says that about the cake.
Yeah. He just doesn't want cake.
The cake is disgusting.
Much like Brandon, he does not like sweet things. And Seiya is at least smart enough to not eat the sweet things that he doesn't like, unlike Brandon.
Who will like have a mouthful and immediately get a stomach cake.
Yeah.
Fucking
Every
idiot.
time we go to Firehouse Subs, Brandon buys a brownie, eats half of it, and then gets a stomach ache.
I like chocolate. So I like sweets. I just don't like what they do to me.
Yeah. I eat because I'm depressed, and I'm depressed because I eat. It's a vicious cycle. But
So,
yeah, so
basically,
after
yeah.
Seiya shuts her down, she goes on a rampage, and Seiya decides
leaves.
this is not my problem. I'm
I
leaving.
mean, yeah, not my. I wouldn't want to deal with all that shit.
And so off we travel to the Dragon Cave.
Yep.
So that Elu and Mash basically say there's some good shit in the Dragon Cave, and there's possibly a way to save the world there. So they head off to the Dragon Cave to see what's what. We find out that in training, Seiya has improved enough that he now has auto attack on,
With the little
where his
Phoenix
Phoenix
thing.
will just intermittently dive bomb things. I just love the shriek. Also, when fucking Elu shoots off like
Shoots a
fire
fireball.
arrow.
And the Phoenix just
That
slaps
shit.
it out of the air.
That was so good. Rejection was so emphatic.
I love Elu's reaction, where she just sees her little, like, it's a basketball and fucking... Shaq just comes in, Papa just comes in and slaps it down.
No, not in my house. Yeah.
But yeah, then they go off to the Dragon World.
Yeah,
From
they
this
get to the
little
Dragon
cave.
World. Seiya breaks into the front door because fuck using the dragon, hand sensor. He's just like, fuck this, I'm gonna break down the door.
And yeah, if you just open the door, just open it.
Eh.
He,
But then he tests out the teleporter, make
With
sure they're
the
not gonna like
lizard.
teleport him into fire.
Yep.
And then they head off to the Raptor World. And then we spend a whole episode at the Raptor World, where predictably the Raptors are dickheads because
One Raptor's a dickhead.
well, all of them are kind of
Yeah,
dickheads.
they are.
Because basically they give Mash back his power to turn into a raptor, which powers him up, and then they look at Elu and they're like, "Hey, guess who gets to die? You do."
For being a matriarchal society, they're very sexist towards women.
I know, right? Sort of fucked up.
But yeah, Elu's gonna die. But Disney Sakai, so no, she doesn't.
Yeah, Elu has to sacrifice herself because she is actually a sword in human form or some shit like that, or unlocks a sword or something. Was sort of unclear the logic.
Apparently, they just need her blood. So, like, why not
Yeah.
just cut her hand?
Yes, okay, yes, I was there too. They play into that at the end in an interesting way. Like, I agree, they definitely could have done this better, or like cut off a finger at most or something. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me.
Yes.
Going back to Babylon, there was a mention at some point in it where they were talking about suicide in other cultures, and he was talking about like suicide in like European cultures. And I thought it was interesting that they said, or in Christianity specifically, like the way it's viewed. And I thought it was
Oh.
interesting because like Japan itself has a history with like ritual suicide.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that like that they didn't decide to bring up their own cultural history, and instead they went with like the more European cultural history of it.
This is true. Didn't make that connection. Because they talked about
Yeah,
the Roman, right? The Roman right
Yeah.
for suicide.
I thought it was interesting that they went with like an ancient European, Roman, and Christianity sort of look at it, and rather than like we have our own history of ritual suicide and it being like a cultural accepted thing.
Maybe because that's a ritual rather than for Romans, it was just, if you want to die, just, fill out this form and do it. It's more akin to, like, what he wants rather than, like, what is currently viewed as okay. Maybe that's why.
All right, I guess it makes sense.
But
I just thought it was interesting that they didn't
Yeah.
bring up their own cultural sort of connection to it. But
it
yeah,
is interesting. But back to this ritual where it makes no sense.
yeah, they have to throw Elu. At first, we assume alive, but it comes to turn out that she doesn't even have to be alive, which goes back to we could just give parts of her and she could, not die for this, but whatever. So Elalu has to sacrifice herself so that the sword that will save the world can be given to Seiya. And Seiya, I mean, fairly obviously decides, like, yeah, we're not going to do this, but he doesn't say it as a, we're not going to do this. He just says, like, I shouldn't have to say what I'm feeling about this.
Because, you need to make things cryptic and weird for the show.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, Seiya's character has already in the show has been established as, like, he doesn't unnecessarily sacrifice people. Like, yeah, he's a dickhead and, like, he'll extort them for money, but, like, he has tried to save everybody so far.
Oh, this is true.
I mean, he trained up until the moment before he had to go back to save those people, but he went back and saved all those people. He didn't look at it as like, oh yeah, I could just let them all die and then show up at the very end to kill her and get as much power as possible. It was, I'm going to get as much power as possible to show up in time to save everybody. So, like, as an audience, while we do look at it as like, oh yeah, he was cryptic and weird about it, like, it should also be fairly obvious, like, what he's saying is, I'm not going to let you die. But Elalu
I'm not going to let my carriage bagger,
yeah,
my carriage carrier die.
My baggage carrier die. Because, yeah, so Seiya can't give up his precious baggage carriers because that's what he hired them to do, and so that's what they're going to do for him.
They're not even paid, though. He didn't really hire them. They're just slaves.
He just took them on, yeah. They really wanted to be there. He tried to send them home. He was trying to be like, I don't want you, go home. But they really wanted to come with, and he was like, if you want to come with, you're going to hold my shit. I was really hoping that when she was like, oh, I'm so useless, are you sure you want me with you? Like, I can't fight. And he's like, look, bitch, I don't need you to fight. I just need you to hold my shit. But yes, so Seiya, manages to not be a complete dickhead and does go and save Elalu. I do also, they sit down for a feast at the time of the ritual, and so at the feast, predictably, they try
People
and
get poisoned.
the raptors try and give them a whole bunch of food and drink, which is very obviously poisoned. And oh my god, I love when he eats the cookie and then you see him coming up from beneath the table, right, wiping his mouth. Yeah. They just knew he puked it all up on the floor.
I like when he gives the explanation, he looks around and then just pukes on command.
He just looks at like, is anybody looking at me? No? Okay, right here. I was really hoping they would look back at the bench, just see like a puddle on the ground underneath his seat.
Of just rainbow goop.
Yeah, just rainbow goop.
Because it's always rainbow for some reason.
Because you can't show vomit on national television. Brandon, obviously. Think of the children. Think of the morals.
I just believed you.
I mean, that is possibly the reason. I don't know.
Maybe.
I can't really think of any other reason to censor it, although it is kind of disgusting. I'll be honest, I don't really want to see people like fucking barf up nasty green shit.
It doesn't always have to be green. If it's a little blood in there, it's gonna be red. That's how you know you're fucked up. But anyways, we have the fight with the dragon. He, beats the dragon by basically knocking her off the little cliff, so that she's the one that dies. Then he gets a fake sword, and then they leave.
Yeah. He collects, a sword arises. He slashes Elalu to collect some of her blood, and he's like, look, I took some of her blood and flesh, and therefore I have the sword. It counts. Deal with it.
And all the rest are like, all right.
Yeah, he explains to Liz, like, look, this was a win-win. The girl said out loud in front of all of us that she was envious because she wanted to be the one who sacrificed herself, so she sacrificed herself. Win-win, right?
I like how he just keeps driving home the point. It's a win-win. We both win here. This was good for both of us.
Yeah. As Liz is like, but is it really? And he's like, yes, this is a win-win. Look at what I'm holding and understand that this is a win-win.
And then he leaves.
Yeah, and then they leave. And Restart first asks him, like, hey, that sword, that's bullshit, right? And he's like, yeah, it's complete bullshit.
It's made with 100 of your hairs.
It's made out of 100 of your hairs. And then she has words to say about the fact that he's been ripping out her hairs at night. And not doing other things to her at night. Because this goddess doesn't know what she's about.
Yep.
Despite starting the show all about, we can't have a relationship because I'm a goddess and you're a human. Now that's sort of more of like guidelines.
Yeah, guidelines. There's been moments.
Yeah. They've been through a lot together.
They've been together for a week.
They've been together for literally a week. And for some of that time, he's basically left her and been like, don't come near me. Don't walk in my house.
And then, yeah, also, there's like a little Mash and What's-Her-Face, and a little, like, little thing where they're kind of being cute together. Who gives a shit about them? They're gonna die.
Oh, yeah. They may be on, like, a sister-brother romance ending. Who knows? But yeah, so apparently some fucking armored humans are now at the gate or at the entry to the Dragon Cave, as though that's somehow threatening to Seiya at this point. I mean, the dude literally just took down a golden dragon, and now it's like, oh no, there's like 9 dudes in armor. How are we going to survive this?
Oh, woe is me. However, we will survive.
So yeah, he's probably gonna get like arrested for something stupid and possibly get attacked by demons next episode because there was some demons with some weird like fucking anal probe looking shit, you know, talking about like we're going to kill the gods now. So the fact that Seiya has already beaten at least 2 gods into submission indicates that that is not enough power to beat Seiya, quite possibly.
I don't think he's beaten the war goddess into submission.
He beat her into being a normal girl.
I think she just became a normal girl of her own volition. She was so
just
enamored.
by being near Seiya.
Yeah.
That is quite possible. We did not see them fight. We don't know that he whooped her too. He did learn the sword technique in like 1.5 days, though, apparently.
Mm-hmm. The Eternal Blade or whatever.
Yeah.
Got stupid ass fucking names.
I just want to see the S&M goddess again. Valkyrie was awesome.
SM. It's SM. There's no and or N. I learned this from Mindhunter. This is actually a scene in Mindhunter.
They talk about the fact that it's not S and M, it's SM.
Yep.
Well, that's not true. It's S&M. S and M. Sadism and masochism.
No, but it's just SM is the term. Like, is the actual, like...
Well, okay, but I can't pronounce a slash in between them, Brandon, so I
Well,
pronounce
you say SM.
But it's not SM. I'm denoting 2 separate things, sadism and masochism.
No, it's
that is a correct
sadomasochism.
term. Okay, that is true. I guess it could also be sadomasochism. But sadomasochism is an amalgamation of sadism and masochism.
I don't know. This is what they said in Mindhunter.
Okay, but like I'm not technically wrong. I understand that it is sadomasochism, but sadomasochism is itself an amalgamation of the 2 separate words, sadism and masochism.
Yes.
So I think it's both correct to say SM and SNM.
Okay.
Like BDSM
Yeah.
is actually 3 different acronyms amalgamated into one acronym where each individual acronym is only 2 of the components. Because it's B and D, D and S, and S and M.
Yeah.
For bondage and dominate... No. Fuck.
I don't know the D for BD.
It's bondage and something. Domination and servitude and
Submission.
sadism and masochism?
That's
Domination, submission.
Sadomasochism.
Sadism and masochism.
Sadism, masochism, yeah.
I don't remember what the second part of the B and D is.
I'm gonna go with dildo.
Dildoing. Yeah. It's actually docking. It's bondage and docking.
Oh, God.
Where you go tip to tip.
And that was the
Yes.
end of Cautious Hero.
And that was the end of Cautious Hero. Had nothing to do with BDSM.
Not yet.
Not yet. We don't know what Valkyrie's into.
Some freaky shit.
We also don't know what Restart is going to allow her to be
Some
into.
freaky shit.
Because Restart was very submissive around Valkyrie. So we'll see.
And so we go move on to Orisuki.
Yes.
Where...
And the apparently original beach episode, or water park episode.
Yes, pool episode. Pool, water park, yeah.
Yeah. But first we have our main character wake up, go downstairs, and interact with his mom, who is definitely not a mom.
Yeah. Also, Stalker's back. Stalker's back, yay!
Yeah, the stalker's back. The stalking thing is actually a plot point again.
Not a plot point, but like a character thing.
Trait.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that we acknowledge it, and like it's not just something that's happening in the background anymore. Like we're acknowledging that she is crazy again.
She's crazy. Also, main character's totally not down with it.
Oh yeah, no. Which is understandable. He shouldn't be. It's not okay. Stalking people is not an acceptable thing to do.
But yes,
I
the
feel
mom.
weird having to say it out loud.
The mom is the Forever 17 type character, I guess. I guess that's a trope.
I guess that's a trope. Her voice is not a mom
It's
voice,
annoying.
though. Her voice is awful.
Yeah.
It's especially awful because it doesn't go with her character at all. Like, other than the, like, Always 17 thing, like, her voice just should be lower than what it is. Like, that is the voice of a 14-year-old in, like, a 30-year-old's body, and I hate it.
Probably because she's, she's doing it. She's doing the voice. But that doesn't make it better.
But it's atrocious.
Yes, it is.
Like, it's atrocious to listen to. I usually don't agree with you on the voice thing. Like, usually I can put up with it and I don't really care and it doesn't affect me. This voice, for some reason, I despised. Like, every time she opened her mouth, I wanted her to stop talking.
I didn't despise her voice, I just didn't like it.
I hated it. I hated everything about it.
Anyways, hopefully she doesn't show up that much.
Yes.
She just has to stand there and I'll be okay with it. But the moment she opens her mouth,
But the important point of her character was to introduce the fact that Stalker Girl has arrived at his house.
And has on multiple times hung out with the stalker girl.
Yeah. The mom and the Stalker Girl are apparently, like, friends that know each other.
That's what was funny.
That's the thing. But so Stalker shows up and basically invites him to let's go to the water park.
Yep. It didn't really invite him. She says, "We're going to the water park."
Yeah. She invites him in her own special way, in which she doesn't phrase it as a request, but more of as an order, because it is one. So they go off to the water park, and we get to see all the girls and all of the fan service scenes for way too long.
Yes, this episode was basically just that. Although
Yeah.
the funniest parts were with Sun Chan.
Oh, yes.
Sun and Jorah were peak this episode.
Absolutely.
Peak bros.
Where 2 episodes ago we had the joke about, the BL scene getting underfunded because it was a BL scene and not a fan service scene. This time,
It gets all the service.
all of the service. They did not skimp on the animation this time. Because at every step of the way, as the girls tried to put on their best face and, show Jorah why they deserve to be his number one, Sun Chan was there to... Sun Chan was there to hook a brother up.
Yeah. Basically, we've got the 3 girls all competing against each other. Fucking Himawari, wants to go to the water slide and try to show Jorah a good time. Whatever. That fucking happens. He loses his shorts. Sun comes in to hide his little manhood and be a bro so he can put it back on.
Yep.
Second time, Cosmos wants to ride the lazy river with the little pink dolphin. She puts the pink dolphin, Jorah gets on, and then she starts freaking out about marriage or whatever. Fuck her. Who cares? Jorah starts floating down the lazy river because he can't just hold on to the rail or something, apparently. I didn't get that part. But Sun hops on, and, they ride off into the fucking sunset. Literally.
Yep.
And then you get the actual, moment which I guess should have won. I don't know. In my opinion, should have won. Where Stalker Girl and him just go to the hot springs and they just kind of chill out for a little bit. And then Stalker Girl mentions that she knows exactly what Jorah's type is. And she knows it's her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's why she didn't win, is because, if she hadn't been weird about it, she would have won. But then she reminded him that, oh yeah, she's a stalker.
Yeah.
Not only did she follow him around all the time and know all about, your secret ideas and stuff, but yeah, I went into your room, into your secret drawer, and, examined all of your pornos. So, the stalking thing is once again a plot point, and I'm glad we've returned to it.
Well, it is creepy. She does get mad points for that big dick energy of just being confident about it.
I mean, to be fair, if the person you were into, you found out what they were into and it was your type, you'd be like, damn, I'm a badass.
Yeah.
I'm all about this girl and she's all about fat white dudes. Nailed it. Self 5.
Yes!
But self burns aside.
Oh, we get the actual winner, which is Sun, because he was the bro the entire episode.
And they run off into the sunset together as they shout best friend at each other.
Quite literally run off into the sunset.
Yes.
There is
and in the background of all of this, we have
the short intermission.
The gal.
Yep.
The gal is actually our next girl, I guess, or one of 2, apparently.
Yeah, something's gonna go on with her.
So, during the pool, we run into her, and Jorah can't recognize her.
For some stupid reason.
For some reason.
I hate when Jorah... I like when Jorah's being a huge, little piece of shit, and, being manipulated and stuff, because that's really fun. I don't like him when he's literally a harem protagonist, where he's just being stupid and dumb.
Okay, yeah.
This part was...
I was going to bring this up in a little bit, but we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
There are certain components to the show where, if he was more of, the dickhead we wanted in, the dickhead we saw in the first episode, where, he knows what he's doing, he's manipulating everybody to become the harem protagonist that his, or, the harem owner in his mind.
And he's very aware of, clues, cluing into, girls', movements, or not movements, or,
Intentions.
intentions and body language and stuff, because he wants to like tease out whether or not they like him.
Uh-huh.
And that's all basically gone out the window.
Yeah. Like, nothing. Like, it's so annoying. The best one was he did actually understand that the girls were all fighting for like his interests, basically.
Yes.
Which, like, when it first started and he was like acting sort of dumb about it, I was like, "You fucking ignorant asshole!" Like, it's so obvious what's going on. And like at the end of it, when he first goes on the first one with Himawari on the water slide, is where he's finally like, "Oh, so nice to have all the girls fighting over me." And I was like, "Okay, so he clearly understands what's going on." But like, I want him to be more manipulative about it, like try and get more out of it.
I wanted him to be a worse person.
Yeah, basically. I wanted him to be a worse person, and he's just not committing 100% to the character type, and I'm kind of upset.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be more of a fiend.
Like, the moment he saw the redheaded girl, and, like, she was, you know, talking about her friend, I wanted him to clue and be like, perfect! Another one!
I just want the DJ Khaled reference. Another one.
But basically...
Suffering from success.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the redheaded girl knew who he was. Despite the fact that he didn't know who she was. But she asked him
Oh, yeah,
about,
the redheaded girl absolutely knew.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I have this friend, kind of said some stupid shit. She wants to apologize, whatever. How should she apologize? And she was like, she should just say sorry. But that's, I guess, not enough for her? I don't know.
Yeah, she feels like she needs to act more contrite about it, so she's like, what's your type? So that my friend can be that type when she apologizes. Again, that should be very obvious. But he's like, yeah, girls with long, straight black hair.
With big boobs.
With big boobs. That's implied. She was already, you know, she couldn't do anything about that. That was sort of set in stone. But the black hair thing, she could change what's going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, like, yeah, just long, straight black hair. That's what I'm into. And so she decides, like, hey, I could do that. So
peace out.
She runs away, and we see her again at the end of the... After he and Sunshine run off into the distance together, we go to the next day at school, and all of the other 4 gal posse apologize to him, and we have a girl with long, straight black hair sit down next to him.
With a little headband.
Yeah, with a little headband, and we see that it is the ex-leader of the gal posse, now with long, straight black hair.
Oh,
But
yeah, I
before
wonder if
we
she
can
likes
get any...
him.
Yeah. And before we can get any development with her, though, we have the after-credits scene where we have yet another girl enter the posse, where we have another girl who's going to throw herself directly at Joro by being the type that he wants, a person who will do anything for him with no expectations of reciprocation.
Yes. Fucking crazy. And has ulterior motives.
Oh, absolutely. She's going to be bonkers.
But I wonder how he's going to react to it. I want him to be like, I want him to carry on a farce that he's completely okay with it, but trying to like actually manipulate her into actually being okay with it.
I feel like he's going to like. The best thing to do here is he's going to get tricked, but he should understand at this point, like, okay, every girl that started this way has always been trying to like do something against me. I should try and figure out what her play is here.
Yeah.
Like, he should be able to do something for himself for once instead of relying on somebody else to save him at the end of this.
Actually, back to the whole thing about him not knowing people like him. When he's talking to the redhead girl, he does mention the bench. So I think he did kind of know that girl was kind of flirting with him.
He was more looking for the bench because she wanted to talk about something. Like, even Cosmos and Himawari, when they first wanted to talk to him, they weren't talking about him, they were talking about Sun, but they wanted to talk on the bench. So he just associates the bench with bad things are about to happen, not girls who like me.
Well, it's half and half, because 2 girls have said they like him on the bench. It just hasn't been in the best of terms.
Only one girl has said that they like him on the bench. Ooh. Newspaper Girl said that you're a cheating fiend on the bench.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Never mind. You're correct.
The bench has only been good for him once, and even then it wasn't really
It wasn't good. He's made it very clear that he's not down with the whole stalker thing.
I mean, I'm feeling him. The stalker thing, again, not normal.
But anyways, we've got 2 new girls, and we're going to figure out what the fuck their like inner cycle is going to be and how they're going to fit into the harem. Also, is the reporter girl going to come back? Who knows?
Who knows? She's still in the class, so it's very possible.
Did you see that big ass like motherfucker in the front of the?
Yes, the baseball hat.
Yeah,
dude was jacked.
That was a JoJo character from the first 3 seasons.
He was. He had the like character definition of a main character, but we've never heard him say anything.
He's just there. I wonder why. I wonder who decided like I'm gonna have like this just big ass dude here.
I mean, to be fair, like if you're creating a manga where like everything's gonna happen inside of this one classroom, or like, you know, with a handful of people outside of it, just make everybody in the classroom look like a potential character. So like at any point somebody could be used.
Yeah.
Like don't just have a whole bunch of random faceless nobodies. It's like every time you need to create a new character, like yeah, they're a member of class 4F. That's
Yeah.
a real class, right?
They're right there in the front seat, the second to the window, and
Yeah.
then everyone will think you're a genius for being for foreshadowing.
Yeah. So yeah, instead you just create a whole bunch of people and they're just constantly there. And at some point you're like, hey, I need a new character to fill this role. It's that guy.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Eeny, meeny, miny, big jack dude in the front. I need somebody to be really into Sun-chan in a gay way.
Oh my god,
Jack's baseball dude.
That's gonna be a purple-haired kid with the 2 girls next to each other from the opening.
Is there another guy in the opening?
Yep,
Interesting.
I think they go to a different school.
The the harem featuring both men and women. Very progressive of them.
Well, the harem. No, it's gonna be a harem because that guy would like Sun-chan, at least according to you. Oh, did you say Sun?
I did.
Okay, yeah. Sun doesn't have a harem.
Sun does not have a harem.
Yeah.
Although he should, as like every girl loves Sun-chan because he's like, oh my god, he's the baseball captain and all that. Although maybe it's just those 2 girls.
They don't like him anymore. They like the main character.
True, you're right. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, who the fuck knows? We'll see what happens.
Who the fuck
Sun-chan
knows?
is technically part of Joro's harem, so it's already multi-gendered, so it's okay.
It's true.
Very progressive.
I like it.
I'm down with it.
I'm down with it.
Also, Sun is by far the bottom bitch and the best girl of the lot.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole molesting thing, notwithstanding. Like we just forget about that.
We'll just forget about that. There's a lot of bad character like aspects to people that we have to just forget about.
Although not Himawari and Cosmos, they're just kind of ditzy. Not super bad. At least they're not stalker bad, or I'm gonna do implication bad.
Yeah. Implication bad. That's a good way of putting it.
Or I'm gonna make fake news about you and then make you the only one for me bad.
Yes.
So
I'm
like,
going to accidentally spill this fake news. You're going to know it's me, and somehow you're still going to choose to end up with me.
so arguably, like they're probably you could do worse than those two.
Yeah. It's true. There really was a lot of problems with Newspaper Girl's idea. Now, the more I think about it,
You're just
it was
more
literally,
holes.
I'm going to spread fake news about you, make everybody hate you, and somehow you're going to forgive me and end up with me.
And
I feel like if you spread fake news about me, I'd be like, I am not talking to you ever again.
in this scenario, he wouldn't have found out that it was that she was playing him.
Yeah, he wouldn't have found out that she was playing him, but like he still would have known. I guess, yeah, it was an accident, was how they phrased it
Yeah,
coming out.
and he was okay with
Okay.
it.
Yeah, okay. I guess I didn't think about the fact that, yeah, they thought it was an accident. Okay.
Still, it makes no fucking sense.
Still weird, but yeah.
But that's Arisuki. I wish our main character was a worse person, because that's the aspect I love about him the most, because it's just so much fun.
Mhm.
And that's, I guess, like the biggest complaint I have about the show.
Yeah. I just want more of who our main character actually is. We get little flashes of it, and I just want him to be that character more
All the
often.
time.
All the time.
Basically, we just want the hero from Legendary is Dead.
Yeah. Even if the only way they can present it was how they did when he was talking to the gal, where they had like black and white cutaways, where like, or not cutaways, but like
Oh yeah,
black
him
and white
just like,
moments where he would just talk to basically the audience or himself.
hello friend.
I just want like scenes like that where he just talks in his own head the way that he actually is. But we don't get enough of it.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll see how his character keeps interacting with everyone else further up ahead.
Yeah.
For now, let's talk about something more wholesome. Iruma-kun.
Rumikun. We after meeting the president last episode, we now have Aruma and the president have a little square off in the hall as the president tries to avoid his human magic, making her fall in love with him, and Aruma tries to be Aruma and apologize for running into her. And at the end of this, the book slips out of her jacket, and he sees, hey, this is a book that I remember from my old life. And he mentions that, hey, I love this book. It's a cute shoujo. I enjoyed working on it, sort of. And then he remembers, he's in the underworld where being able to read Japanese manga is sort of a weird thing to be able to do. But thankfully, our president is a gigantic pile of mush in human form, and she just doesn't really care that he can read it. Just wants to have somebody read her the manga because she wants to know what's going on with these characters and their cute lives that she can see but can't understand. So they organize their own little book club, and he reads her the manga one volume at a time. And she thoroughly enjoys it and decides she needs to continue to research him because this is obviously all for data collection.
Research with quotes in it in the air.
Yeah. She's not enjoying this at all. She's just doing this to figure out if he's human or not, needs to collect more data. So she gives him her phone number and basically says, you're still under investigation. If I call you, you have to show up and read me more books. So that begins sort of their connection to each other. They're now introduced, but Aruma doesn't actually know who that girl is. He just met some girl, and she made him read her a book, and then kicked him out and gave him her phone number. So he doesn't actually know who she is yet.
She's just some fox lady.
Yeah, she's just some fox lady who was really, had me do weird things for no reason. Made me read a book to her all alone. He explained the concept of dating. So we're gonna get some more with her later.
A date, actually, as she puts it.
A date, as she puts it. Aruma doesn't think of it that way. Aruma just, he reads her a book and then goes home and doesn't really see it as a date because, it's not really. But so that's their first connection. And then on the other side of it, they talk about what is it to have ambitions and dreams. And Aruma talks about the fact that, like, I just want to help people. I just want to be a good person, make sure everybody's happy. And the president basically tells him, like, yeah, that's not an ambition, dude. That's just you wanting to be a nice person, but that's not your ambition or your dream. So you gotta look for something more than that in your life. So Aruma now has to figure out, like, what does he actually want to accomplish here?
What does he want to do? And one of the possibilities is going back to the human world.
Yeah, because he talks with Opera in between days of school, and Opera basically asks him. Opera is the cat butler thing from the president's house.
Mm-hmm.
He talks with Opera, and Opera basically asks him, "Do you want to go home?" And Aruma's like, "Yeah, of course I want to go home." And then thinks about it and kind of decides, like, my life back home was kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice here. I have friends. I have a grandpa who takes care of me. I have you. I've got a school I can actually go to.
Got food.
Maybe I don't want to go home. Maybe I want to stay here, despite the fact that I'm in danger. So Aruma sort of is trying to figure out who he is right now and what he wants to do, and the president is sort of challenging him to figure out who he wants to do. So next episode, we make it to see Aruma decide, or figure out who he actually is here. Does he want to stay? Does he want to be a demon? What kind of demon does he want to be? Figure out more about himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's going a soul-searching thing, yeah.
And then we also have a little a B plot where Clara and Asmodeus are trying to figure out what the fuck Iruma-kun is doing without them. And they find out that he's really hanging out with the president a lot. And they're trying to, and Alice thinks that the reason Iruma-kun is doing this is to conquer the entire school. Because if he is able to become the president, then, he owns it. Clara's just kind of there. And she's annoyed that he won't play with him anymore.
Yeah.
But very simple.
I'm really... how do I want to phrase this? The show is looking a lot better than when it started. And it wasn't bad to begin with, but, just in terms of, quality and the way the characters are, especially in the scenes with Alice and Clara. Just something with the way that, Clara moves like Gumby now. Her limbs are very, fluid, which kind of goes with her character of being, a weird spaz. It just looks nicer than it did in episode 1 for some reason. And like I went back and watched a little bit of episode 1, and like it just looked a little different in episode 1,
Maybe
just
the
like around the
animators
edges.
are finding their stride with the way to basically animate, each of the characters' personalities in the way they move.
I think so.
It's definitely what happens in like live action, where the actors get more of a feel for who their character is.
Hmm.
So I guess
And it really makes it feel like more in character, like watching them all sort of be not just say the lines that they're supposed to say and say them with the sort of tone that they're supposed to say, but actually see the characters move the way that you kind of
imagine
feel like they should move based on who they are.
Mhm.
I like it.
Okay,
I like it a lot.
I haven't noticed it, so I'll definitely try to look out for that some more.
It was just something I noticed, like this episode was like just something about like the way that Clara and Alice moved in their scenes was a little bit different than the way that a lot of the motion was in episode 1.
Okay, I guess there was kind of that moment with Mary last episode, where she's reading the book and just like squealing to herself. So something like that.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Well, I guess that's really it for Aruma-kun. Once again, it's our weekly Saturday morning cartoon, which is just so much fun to watch.
It is.
Not much else to talk about. I assume there's gonna be a bigger plot later on because there's Cthulhu in the opening, so I assume at some point we're gonna fight Cthulhu.
We don't actually fight Cthulhu, as far as I'm aware now.
Oh, and at some point we're gonna meet Cthulhu.
We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens.
At some point they start doing like it's a school anime, so they join clubs, but they join demon clubs. So there's some demon club activities to go through.
Okay.
There are some plots where I don't know if they're going to do them. Like, they're shorter little, like, one-off things. Like, Clara joins the succubus division at one point to try and learn how to become sexy. And fails in her own Clara ways. I don't know if they'll adapt it or not. It's not really, like, a long plot. It's, like, 1 or 2 chapters. But it was a Clara-exclusive sort of thing, so it was kind of interesting. And it was kind of funny.
It sounds funny.
But yeah, we'll probably get the next, like, long plot line after the whole like Aruma deciding what he wants to do sort of thing is the clubs.
Okay.
Which includes Clara's succubus club, but also the club that Aruma joins, which is like the major plot line of it.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming we'll get that, and we'll get to meet. We'll get to go off and do club stuff, and yeah, it's a good time.
Looking forward to it.
That's like the next major conflict. I don't actually know how far we're gonna go. I was sort of like trying to map out like how far we'd get based on chapters. And I mentioned last time my favorite arc was an arc called Royal One, which had to do with a classroom that we'd seen in the background of like episode 1 or 2. I don't know if we're going to get there. I think we're going to stop at the arc just before it, which is sort of unfortunate because I really love the Royal One arc. But maybe if they skip some of like the one-off chapters, we can get there. I really love the Royal One arc.
Okay.
Because it features Aruma being evil, which is my favorite thing.
That sounds like fun.
It is delightful. But yeah, we'll see where we get. But for now, we get Aruma trying to figure out who he is, and Alice trying to help him conquer the school.
As Alice does.
As Alice does.
The bottom bitch for Aruma-kun.
It's true. But Alice is great.
Yep. And
Alice is our most capable second I think we've ever seen. Because Alice is supposed to be like the most successful first year, and yet somehow is still second to Aruma.
What other seconds have we seen?
Secondhand
man.
We have Sun-chan. Sun-chan is the second to
I say he's
Joro.
pretty capable.
He's pretty capable, but like all of the girls are really in love with Joro. Like in terms of, getting the ladies. I guess at first Sun-chan was...
He was getting the ladies too.
It's true, but he wasn't getting the lady that he wanted, and Joro was, so like... there's something to be said for that.
Okay, Joro was not getting the lady. The lady that did like him, he was not down with. But
It's
now
true.
he does have the 2 ladies that he wants.
It's true. It's hard to say things at Orisuke. It's a very weird show.
Because, instead for secondhand, I assume wingman. So Sun-chan, he's being a baller of a wingman.
It's true.
What
other ones have we seen?
I guess...
Seiya doesn't really have one.
Where's Art?
Kind of.
Or is
Although
Resort...
he doesn't really see her as, like, his partner in any way.
How
She
about
just sort of exists, and he's like, yeah, teleport me places, bitch.
how about the flip? Seiya is Rezart's wingman.
Kind of. In like the whole
It's
"I need you
debatable.
to save the world for me"
It's
kind of way.
debatable.
It's
So we'll
debatable.
leave that one.
Um,
Senku has Chrome, and Chrome's pretty capable. He made a water wheel.
Chrome is pretty capable. That's a good point.
Um,
Uh,
who else do
but
we have?
Senku is more capable than Chrome, I would say, where Iruma is less capable than Alice.
Not if Iruma-kun is using his special power of failing upwards.
It's true. Or his special power of the ring with all of his granddad's magic, which is basically a cheat power, but whatever. We won't talk about that.
It was a way to make him use magic.
It's true. It's also a way to introduce a great character in the thing that lives inside the ring.
No.
Which, God, I love that thing.
We'll wait for that. But anyways, I'd say we have some pretty good second hands in this second-hand mans this season.
It's true. We do.
But aside from that, what would you like to sell out to today, Nick?
What would I like to sell out to today? Has there been anything that's significantly helped me in the past week? I guess I will sell out to the Model United Nations, specifically the high school Model United Nations of Virginia high school systems that I guess every year come to UVA to have some sort of like Model UN thing. Where this past weekend, my campus got overrun with high school kids.
Oh,
and it was atrocious.
Gotta be annoying.
It was awful. Something about these kids being at a college campus and in high school, they think that they are like important or like can do shit because like I guess some of them are seniors or whatever.
Were they wearing suits?
I wanted to slap. Yes, they were.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to slap multiple of them. These kids were the most disrespectful people I'd ever had the inconvenience of listening to. They fucking mouthed off to like people were trying to give them food at the dining halls, and the people trying to give them food at the fucking like food courts below the dining halls. They mouthed off to everybody, and I was like, "Bitch, you are not that important. You do not get to mouth off at my fucking food staff."
Did they mouth off to the food staff?
Yeah, they mouthed off the fucking food staff.
Wow, what a bunch of pieces of shit.
I hated them.
Christ.
They were awful. I wanted to smack some motherfuckers.
Hopefully someone did. Corporal punishment is A-okay.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
I should be able to whoop other people's children when they're misbehaving. Sometimes kids just need to be whooped.
Some kids just need a fucking chocolate to the face. That's what I had, and that's what they have to fucking deal with now. Anyway.
It's not obvious Brandon is,
Latin American.
Latin American. These kids were decidedly white. I don't think they knew what the chunkle was.
I would like to sell out to... I don't know if I've actually done it before, but DaVinci Resolve. That's the editor I use because it's free, and it's good enough for my purposes. Editing is fucking hard, especially since I have to do, like, more of it for Heva. I'm, like, trying more things with it.
Uh-huh.
Which I shouldn't be because it's an hour and 40 minutes long.
Wow.
But, you know, whatever. It's fun. I'm 1/7 of the way done. So, there's that.
Alright.
Yeah. I'm
1/7? That's pretty solid.
Plugging it along.
That's pretty solid.
Complete, like, disclosure here. I didn't actually work for it for, like, about 2 weeks because I was just tired from work.
That's fair. I mean, we're not getting paid for this, so...
Yeah. But I'm working on it now, and I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
DaVinci Resolve is fucking awesome. Thanks for being free.
Thanks for being free, DaVinci Resolve.
Also, fuck Adobe. Fuck me
Yeah.
up. That's my negative sellout.
I really don't like the whole buy a temporary license to our product,
Yeah, subscription
thing that Adobe does. Yeah, subscription thing.
It's called SaaS.
Really not a huge fan of that.
Me neither. That's why I dropped them.
Really feel like I really hope that Adobe gets rid of it sometime soon, but I doubt they will.
No, it's making way too much money.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, anyways, that ends tonight. Thank you for listening. I was Brandon.
I'm still Nick. Thanks for being here, audience.